On the other side of the screen, a user named Stellanova sent a selfie, clearly fresh from the shower. A plush robe was slung loosely over her shoulders, and a single drop of water clung to the hollow of her collarbone. "Babe, what do you think? Like the new robe?" My fingers flew across the keyboard. "I love it. Babe, you look incredible." A second later, I switched apps and shot off an urgent email to my boss, Stella Hayes, from my work account. Subject: a 10-point proposal for optimizing departmental KPI standards. She had, after all, read me the riot act in front of the entire team today. The frustration she dished out to Leo Carter, she was going to have to make up for with her sweet online girlfriend, Lily. My name is Leo Carter. I'm 28, 6 feet tall, and a junior manager in the marketing department at Hayes Corporation. But I have a secret. For as long as I can remember, I've been able to switch between my normal self and the form of a little girl. When I'm a little girl, I look about 7 or 8 years old, with my hair in 2 pigtails and skin so pale I look like a porcelain doll. Everyone who sees me wants to pinch my cheeks. I've kept this secret hidden for over 20 years. Besides using it to get out of paying for a bus ticket once or twice, its biggest use has been online dating. It all started about 6 months ago. That day, Stella called me in her office and slammed the quarterly report down on her desk before tearing into me. "Leo, is this really the best your team can do? A 30% drop in engagement, and you're telling me it's due to market headwinds? I think it's a competence issue. I'm docking half of your performance bonus this month. And if you don't have a viable solution by next week, you can pack your bags." I walked out of her office, my fists clenched, a firestorm of anger churning in my gut with nowhere to go. When I got home, I reflexively shifted into my little girl form, hugging a throw pillow and staring blankly while sitting on the living room rug. My phone buzzed. A match notification from a dating app. An account with a picture of a city skyline at night sent a message. "Hey there." I tapped on her profile. It was sparse, just a few landscape shots, all geotagged at high-end hotels or sleek office buildings. The profile picture was a glittering cityscape, stylish and sophisticated. On a whim, I typed back, "Hi there, pretty lady." I named this burner profile Lily, with my bio set to 18, college student. In reality, when I change into the little girl, my voice also becomes a sweet, childish treble. But when I text, I try to sound a little more mature so I don't come across as an actual kid. She replied almost instantly, "Your profile says you're in college. Where do you go?" "That's a secret," I typed, adding a winking tongue-out emoji for effect. "What about you? You seem like a big shot." "You could say that," she replied with a smiling emoji. "I'm in corporate management." One thing led to another, and we started hitting it off. Her name was Stella, and she was the CEO of a company. I didn't dare ask which one, afraid I might be playing with fire. We talked about everything from our hobbies and dreams to poetry and late-night topics. Once, when we were talking about past relationships, she told me she'd never really been in one. She was too busy and had never met the right person. I told her I'd never been in a serious relationship either, then added, "But I've always wanted to try, especially with someone like you." The second I hit send, I regretted it. It felt way too forward. To my surprise, she wrote back, "Well, want to give it a try." And just like that, I, in the guise of a little girl named Lily, started an online relationship with my own boss. We'd text late into the night, every night, sharing details about our lives. She would tell me about her frustrations at work, complaining about difficult clients and insubordinate employees. Every time she mentioned her underlings, I couldn't help but wonder if she was talking about me. I'd tell her funny stories about school, all of which were either completely made up or just stories about my coworkers that I'd adapted for myself. After a month of talking, she suddenly sent, "Lily, what if we started calling each other Wifey?" I stared at the screen, my face flushing and my heart hammering in my chest. "Okay, Wifey, perfect, Wifey." Ever since then, our conversations had gotten a lot more intimate. She would send me pictures of herself, sometimes in a power suit in her office, other times in workout gear at the gym. Every single one was breathtakingly beautiful. Stella Hayes was, by any measure, a knockout. Tall, with delicate features, she was the dream girl of every guy in the office. At work, I could only ever admire her from a distance. But now, I was looking at her private photos on my phone. The feeling was surreal. One time, she was on a business trip and sent me a picture from her hotel room wearing a silk nightgown, her collarbones perfectly defined. My eyes were glued to the screen. It took me a full minute to compose myself enough to type back, "Wifey, you're so beautiful. I wish I could just hold you." She sent back a blushing emoji. "When we finally meet, I'll let you hold me as long as you want." Meet? I'd never even considered it. How was I supposed to meet her? As Leo? That would be like announcing, "Hey, I'm your subordinate, and also I've been catfishing you." As Lily? A 7-year-old girl showing up for a date? She'd be horrified. I try to play it off. "Definitely. As soon as I'm on summer break, I'll come find you." She didn't press the issue. "Okay, I'll be waiting." From that day on, I discovered the perfect way to get back at Stella. Whenever she treated me poorly at the office, I'd give her the cold shoulder online. Once, she ripped my proposal apart in front of the whole team, saying I hadn't used my brain. I kept my head down, mentally cursing her out 1,000 times. That night, she sent her usual message, "Wifey, I'm so exhausted today." I replied with a single cold, "Oh." She immediately sensed my mood. "What's wrong? Are you upset?" "No." "Are you mad at me?" "No." She sent a pouting emoji. "What is it? Please just tell me." Seeing her being so careful and tentative, half of my anger melted away, replaced by a strange sense of satisfaction. "I just feel like maybe you don't really care about me." I typed, laying it on thick. "How could I not care about you? You're my baby. But you don't even have time to talk to me, and you didn't even say goodnight." I whined, picking a fight over nothing. The truth was, she'd worked late the night before and had forgotten. "I'm so sorry. That's my fault." She apologized immediately. "I promise, I'll say goodnight every single day from now on. No matter how busy I am, I'll make time for you." "Well, okay, I forgive you." I typed, secretly smiling to myself. The next day at work, the look in Stella's eyes was noticeably softer. She didn't criticize me once during the morning meeting. This trick was a goldmine. Emboldened, I started pushing it further. She asked me to work on a weekend, so I told her Lily was sick and made her coax me for half an hour. She docked my performance bonus, so I whined about wanting snacks. She immediately ordered a delivery from a dessert place on DoorDash. I just had the address set to the convenience store near my apartment and went to pick it up myself. The stricter she was with me at work, the more demanding I became online. One time, after a major project hit a snag, she called me into her office and chewed me out for over half an hour, threatening to put a formal reprimand on my record. That night, she messaged me, "Wifey, that project today was a disaster. I'm in a terrible mood." I shot back, "Don't call me wifey. I'm not your wifey." She panicked, sending a flood of messages. "Babe, what's wrong? Did I do something wrong? Please don't ignore me. I know I messed up. Please forgive me." I just left her on read. She started calling me. I declined the call, then turned my phone off. The next morning, I turned it back on to a barrage of missed calls and notifications, including several voice messages. I clicked on one. Her voice was thick with tears. "Lily, what's going on? Do you not want to be with me anymore? Just tell me. I can change, I promise." My heart clenched. I'd never heard Stella Hayes cry. At the office, she was always the unshakable, composed, decisive leader. I never imagined she would cry over Lily. A wave of guilt washed over me. I'd gone too far. I quickly typed a reply. "I'm so sorry, babe. I was in a bad mood yesterday. I didn't mean to ignore you." She replied instantly, "Really? You're not lying?" "No, of course not. I got into a fight with a friend from school, and I was just upset. That's all." I lied. "Okay, then please don't be angry anymore. I was so worried about you." "I'm not. And babe, you shouldn't be sad either. It's just a project. You can always fix it." "Yeah, just hearing you say that is enough." After that, I didn't dare give her the silent treatment for too long. I learned to pull back. But that didn't stop me from continuing my revenge as Lily. She made me revise a proposal until midnight, so I told her I couldn't sleep and made her tell me a bedtime story. She shot down my idea in a meeting, so I told her I was craving the most expensive milkshake from that trendy downtown spot and made her order it for me. The better she treated Lily, the more arrogant I became at the office. My colleagues started to notice, whispering about how unusually lenient Stella had become with me. Only I knew it was a privilege I had earned with my other identity. Our online romance grew sweeter. We even started video chatting. Of course, I never show my face. I'd either keep the camera angled above my shoulders or hide behind a stuffed animal. She, on the other hand, was completely open, often talking to me from her office or her home. Seeing her on camera, dressed in comfortable loungewear with her hair down, she looked so different. Less of the sharp-edged executive and more of a soft, gentle woman. My heart would be a mess of sweetness and guilt. Sweetness, because I was seeing a side of her no one else did. Guilt, because I was deceiving her the entire time. During one video call, she said suddenly, "Lily, your voice is so sweet. You sound just like a little kid." My stomach dropped. "No way," I said quickly. "I'm a full-grown adult. Thank you very much." "Are you?" she teased. "Then say my name for me." Stealing myself, I tried to deepen my voice as much as I could. "Stella." "Nope, that's not it," she said, shaking her head. "Say it like you usually do when we're texting." I was trapped. I had no choice but to use Lily's high-pitched, childish voice. "Stella." She paused for a second, then a wide smile spread across her face. "So cute. I just want to pinch your cheeks." After the call, I felt a knot of anxiety in my stomach. What if she was getting suspicious? But then I figured she's a CEO. She's way too busy to overthink something like that. Life went on, and I balanced my two identities, Leo and Lily, with ease. By day, I was the subordinate Stella ordered around. By night, I was the girlfriend she spoiled. This double life was exhausting, but I couldn't deny that it was also thrilling. Until the day something went wrong. The office got hit with a last-minute, all-hands-on-deck project. I was so swamped, I didn't even have time for dinner. Stella was there too, hovering over everyone and checking on our progress. "Leo, what's going on with this data set? It doesn't match the previous reports." "Leo, this chart is hideous. Redo it." "Leo, the client is asking for an update. Can you move any faster?" I gritted my teeth and complied, all the while plotting how I would make her pay for it that night. Finally, around 10 p.m., the report was finished. I slumped in my chair, completely drained, wanting nothing more than to go home and collapse. Stella walked over, glanced at my screen, and gave a curt nod. "Good. This will work. Thanks for staying late. Go get some rest." With that, she turned and walked back to her office. I packed up my things and left. I had just got on the subway when my phone buzzed. It was a message from her. "Babe, are you done with work yet? I miss you so much." I stared at the message, all my resentment bubbling back up to the surface. She yells at me all day and then acts all sweet and loving at night. I deliberately waited a few minutes before replying. "Just finished. I'm exhausted." "I'm so sorry, babe," she replied instantly. "Here's a kiss to make it better." "I don't want a kiss. I want you to make it up to me." "And how can I do that?" I paused, a mischievous idea forming. "I want you to wear that silk nightgown and send me a picture." The moment I sent it, I felt a pang of regret. That was definitely crossing a line. To my shock, she replied, "Okay, I'll send it to you when I get home." I froze. She actually agreed. The train pulled into my station, and I walked home in a daze. As soon as I got through the door, I changed into Lily and sat on the couch, waiting for her picture. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed. She had sent the photo. She was wearing the black silk nightgown, her hair still damp as if she'd just showered. She was leaning against her headboard, her eyes hazy and a faint smile on her lips. My heart started racing, and my face felt hot. I had never seen her like this. She was devastatingly sexy. "Do you like it?" she messaged. "I love it." My hands were trembling as I typed. "Good. Then don't you think I deserve a little reward?" "A reward? What kind of reward?" "Send me a picture of you. I've never even seen my own girlfriend." My stomach lurched. There it was. What was I going to do? Send a picture of Lily? She'd definitely get suspicious. Send a picture of Leo? That was a direct confession. I agonized over it for a few minutes before typing back. "I can't. I'm not very photogenic. I don't want to scare you away." "Don't be silly. I'm sure you're the most beautiful girl in the world." "No, really? Let's just wait until we meet in person, okay?" "All right," she replied, sounding a little disappointed. "Well, you should get some sleep. You have classes tomorrow." "Okay. Good night, wifey." "Good night, my love." I put my phone down, breathing a sigh of relief. But the anxiety didn't go away. It was getting stronger. She had to be suspicious. Why else would she suddenly ask for a photo? What should I do? Keep lying to her? But the thought of ending things hurt. I knew this relationship was built on a lie from the very beginning, but I had already fallen for her. For the next few days, I was a nervous wreck. At the office, Stella was the same, as always, criticizing when necessary, making me work overtime. But online, she was her usual loving self, texting me every day and telling me she missed me. She never brought up the photo again. I started to think she'd forgotten about it and began to relax. Until that Friday, when everything blew up. It was Stella's birthday. I had wanted to get her a gift for weeks, but I couldn't give it to her as Leo. That would be too weird. So, as Lily, I had a necklace delivered to her office. I'd spent a long time picking it out, and I thought it would look perfect on her. I left the sender information blank, only writing, "From your loving Lily." While I got to work that morning, I saw Stella was wearing a new dress and seemed to be in a great mood. During the team meeting, she even complimented my latest proposal. I felt a secret thrill. She must have received the necklace, and it looked like she loved it. That afternoon, the receptionist called my desk. "Leo, you have a package down here." I was confused. I hadn't ordered anything. I went downstairs to find a beautifully wrapped gift box. I opened it and froze. Inside was a handsome, expensive-looking men's watch. There was also a small card. It read, "For my favorite guy. I hope you love it. Stella." My mind went completely blank. This was, for me. How did she know my address? Did she know? I stood there holding the watch, my hands shaking. Back at my desk, I couldn't focus. My mind was racing. Did she know I was Lily? If she did, why wouldn't she just confront me? Why send a gift? When I got home that night, I hesitated for a long time before finally opening the app. She had already sent a message. "Babe, did you get my gift?" I took a deep breath and typed back. "I did. Thank you, Wifey. Do you like it?" "I love it. It's amazing." "Good," she sent with a smiling emoji. "Because I know it's you." Reading that sentence, my heart plummeted into my stomach. It was over. I fumbled with my phone. What? What do you know? I know that Leo is Lily, and Lily is Leo. I stared at the screen, stunned. She knew. When? When did you figure out? "I've had my suspicions for a while now," she wrote. "The way you text, some of your habits. They're a lot like Leo's." "Then why? Why did I send you a gift and keep talking to you?" she finished, as if reading my mind. "Yeah, because I like you," she wrote, her words direct and honest. "It doesn't matter if you're Leo or Lily. I like you." I stared at my phone, and a tear rolled down my cheek. I didn't know what to say. Guilt, relief, fear. A tidal wave of emotions washed over me. "I'm sorry." I typed. "What are you sorry for?" "For lying to you for so long." "It's okay," she replied. "To be honest, I kind of enjoyed it." "Enjoyed it? Imagine," she sent with a nodding sticker. "Watching you get all huffy and annoyed at work after I yelled at you, and then seeing you try to get back at me as Lily online. It was actually pretty fun." I was floored. She thought it was fun. I blinked, rereading the message to make sure I hadn't imagined it. "You're not mad?" "Oh, I'm mad," she replied instantly. "I'm mad that you were right here this whole time, and you still felt like you had to pretend to be someone else to talk to me. Then, but mostly, I'm happy," she sent with a smiling face emoji. "Finding out you were Lily was actually a huge relief. I was completely lost. This was not how I had imagined this conversation going." "Are you free tomorrow?" she asked suddenly. I think so." "Then let's meet," she typed quickly. "I want to see you, the real you." My heart leaped into my throat. Meet? Who was I supposed to show up as? Leo or Lily, 17? Don't overthink it," she wrote, as if she knew exactly what I was thinking. "Just come in whatever way feels most comfortable for you. I'll be at the Starlight Cafe downtown, 3 o'clock." And with that, she went offline, leaving me no room to argue. I stared at the chat window, my palms sweating. The most comfortable way? Maybe it was time for her to finally meet Lily. The next afternoon, I arrived at the Starlight Cafe half an hour early. I was wearing a pink dress with my hair in 2 pigtails, a little blush on my cheeks for good measure. I looked every bit the part of a 7-year-old girl. I picked a table by the window and ordered an orange juice. My heart was pounding. I was both nervous and excited. How would she react when she saw me like this? At exactly 3 o'clock, the cafe door opened. Stella walked in. She was wearing a chic white trench coat, her long hair cascading over her shoulders, a gentle smile on her face. She scanned the room, and her eyes quickly landed on me. She paused for a second, then walked over. "Hey there, little one. Are you here all by yourself?" she asked, crouching down, her voice as smooth as honey. I looked up at her face, so close to mine, and my heart beat even faster. "Nope," I said in Lily's sweet, childish voice. "I'm waiting for someone." Her eyes widened slightly, a flicker of surprise crossing her face. "Oh, who are you waiting for?" "I'm waiting for my friend, Stella," I said, deliberately using her name. She froze completely, her mouth hanging slightly open. She was speechless. 18. After a long moment, she seemed to recover, sinking into the chair across from me. "Lily?" she whispered, testing the name. I nodded and broke into a wide grin. "That's me, Wifey." Her face instantly turned bright red. She glanced around nervously and lowered her voice. "Don't call me that. There are people around." Seeing her so flustered, I couldn't help but smile. So the all-powerful CEO had an adorable side too. "But how can you look like this? You're not Leo." She was still struggling to process it. "I am who I am. I'm not my big brother Leo," I explained. "I didn't tell you before because I was afraid I'd scare you." "I'm a little scared," she admitted with a wry smile. "But mostly, I am fascinated. Now that you've seen me, do you think it's weird?" I asked, a hint of worry in my voice. She shook her head, then reached out and gently pinched my cheek. "Not weird at all," she said, her gaze incredibly soft. "No matter what you look like, you're still my Lily." My heart felt like it had been struck by something warm and wonderful. We talked for a long time. She listened intently, her expression a mix of awe and amusement. We were right in the middle of a story when her phone rang. She glanced at the caller ID, and her expression immediately soured. She answered, her tone all business. "What? There's another problem with the project. I told you all to double-check everything. How could this happen?" "Fine. I understand. I'm on my way." When she hung up, she looked exhausted, her brow furrowed in frustration. 19. "What's wrong?" I asked. "A project at work went south. We could lose a lot of money." She rubbed her temples. "I have to go back and deal with this." She stood up, ready to leave. Seeing her look so defeated and helpless, an idea sparked in my mind. "Stella," I called out. She turned, looking at me with a questioning gaze. As she watched, I took a deep breath and focused. My body began to change. I grew taller, the pigtails vanished, and the pink dress morphed into a fitted t-shirt and jeans. In a matter of seconds, the 7-year-old girl was gone, replaced by the 28-year-old man, Leo Carter. Stella was stunned. She stood rooted to the spot, her eyes wide, her mouth agape. She looked from me to the empty chair where Lily had been sitting, her mind clearly struggling to catch up. You, she stammered, pointing at me, unable to form a complete sentence. I stood up and walked over to her. "Stella, e." Before I could finish, she suddenly threw her arms around me. She held on tight, so tight it felt like she was trying to merge our bodies into one. I could feel her trembling. "You jerk," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "You lied to me for so long, and then you lied to me again just now. I am sorry," I said softly, gently rubbing her back, overwhelmed with guilt. 20. Just when I thought she was going to keep scolding me, she pulled her head back. Her eyes were red and watery, but they held a fierce determination I had never seen before. Before I could react, she stood on her toes and kissed me. It was a demanding kiss, tinged with a hint of punishment, but overflowing with long-suppressed emotion. I was completely shocked, my mind a total blank. People around us were staring, whispering, but I didn't care. I could feel her trembling, her insecurity, and the vulnerability hidden beneath her powerful exterior. My heart melted. I wrapped my arms around her, holding her close, and kissed her back. I don't know how long we stood there before we finally broke apart. Her cheeks were flushed, her breathing was ragged, and her eyes were still glistening with unshed tears. "Stella." I started, my throat dry. "Don't call me Stella," she interrupted, looking at me with unwavering intensity. "Call me by my first name. It's Valerie." "Valerie," I said, the name feeling unfamiliar on my tongue. She smiled, and it was like a rainbow after a storm, bright and beautiful. 21. "The project," I said. I'll go back with you and help. She nodded and took my hand. Her hand was soft and cool. I squeezed it tightly, making a silent vow. No matter what happened from now on, I would be by her side, as Leo and as Lily. When we walked back in the office, everyone froze. They stared as Valerie walked in, holding my hand, their mouths hanging open. Ms. Hayes, what is this? Her assistant asked timidly. Valerie glanced at me, then turned to her assistant. It's nothing. I'd just like to introduce you all to Leo. He's my boyfriend. The entire office fell silent. Every eye was on me, a mix of shock, confusion, and envy. I could feel their stares like tiny needles, but I didn't care, because I knew the woman standing next to me was truly mine. 22. We tackled the project problem together. It was tough, but we worked in perfect sync. She made the decisions, and I executed them, just like we always had. But it was different now. There was something new in our gazes, the unspoken understanding and tenderness of two people in love. We worked late into the night until we were the only two left in the office. She leaned back in her chair, closing her eyes in exhaustion. I walked over and gently draped my jacket over her shoulders. Tired? She opened her eyes and smiled at me. A little. Let's go home. Okay. We left the office and stepped out into the deep night. The moonlight spilled onto the pavement, stretching our shadows long behind us. We walked hand in hand in a comfortable silence, the atmosphere warm and peaceful. Leo, she said suddenly, from now on, you're not allowed to give me the cold shoulder as Lily anymore. Okay, I mumbled, scratching my head in embarrassment. However, she added, a playful smile on her face, Lily is really cute. You can turn into her for me every now and then. I paused, then broke into a grin. Okay, if that's what you want. Well, how about you change for me now? She asked, her eyes full of anticipation. I glanced around. The street was empty. I focused, and in a few seconds, I was back in my little girl form. Ah, so adorable, she cooed, crouching down to pinch my cheeks. From now on, if we ever fight, you have to change into Lily to make up with me. Then you have to promise not to yell at me at work anymore, I countered, seizing the opportunity. That depends on your performance, she said with a laugh. Well then, Wifey, can we go home now? I asked in Lily's sweetest voice. Her face flushed, and she scooped me up into her arms. Let's go. Home we go. Under the moonlight, she carried me down the street. I leaned against her, breathing in the faint scent of her perfume, my heart full and warm. Getting caught wasn't so bad after all. At least now, I didn't have to hide anymore. I could love her with every part of who I was. After that, people at the office started noticing some strange things. Sometimes, Ms. Hayes would be seen smiling and talking to herself. Other times, she would call Leo into her office, and a few minutes later, they would hear what sounded like a little girl's laughter coming from inside. Everyone thought it was odd, but no one dared to ask. Only the two of us knew our little secret. Once, at a department dinner, after a few drinks, our colleagues started teasing us, asking how we got together. Valerie just glanced at me and smiled. That's a secret. I smiled too and raised my glass. To secrets. Some secrets are best kept that way. Ever since we went public, the number of men hitting on Valerie seemed to multiply. Business partners who used to keep a respectful distance were now constantly asking her out for dinner under the guise of talking business. One time, a new intern had the nerve to give her a coffee right in front of me, blushing as he asked her to a movie. I watched as Valerie politely but firmly turned him down, and a possessive fire I didn't know I had ignited within me. The next day, Valerie said she had to attend an industry summit and wanted me to go with her. Before we left, I secretly changed into Lily and tugged on the hem of her blazer. Mommy, where are we going? Valerie froze for a second, then caught on, a smile playing on her lips as she ruffled my hair. I'm taking you to meet some of my work friends. A few colleagues walking by stared, probably wondering when their hard-nosed boss had developed such a gentle maternal side. The summit was packed, a sea of fancy suits and cocktail dresses. A man in a slick designer suit made a beeline for Valerie, his eyes glued to her. Valerie, long time no see. You look more beautiful every time I see you. You're too kind, Mr. Davidson, Valerie replied coolly. I was wondering if you were free for dinner tonight, he pressed. Before Valerie could answer, I wrapped my arms around her leg and looked up with wide, innocent eyes. Mommy, who is this man? Is he trying to steal you? The man's smile froze on his face. He looked down at me, completely flustered. Valerie stifled a laugh, bending down to pick me up. This is just one of Mommy's colleagues, sweetie. Don't be silly. Then she turned back to him. I'm so sorry, Mr. Davidson, but I have to take care of my daughter. You'll have to excuse us. As she carried me away, I shot a triumphant V for victory sign over her shoulder at the stunned man. For the rest of the summit, anytime a man approached her, I would call her Mommy and drop lines like, Daddy's gonna be so mad if he finds out. Every single one of them backed off. On the way home, Valerie finally put me down and poked my forehead. You, my dear, are a little green-eyed monster. I changed back into Leo and shrugged. I can't help it if they're all staring at you. What? Are you afraid someone's going to steal me away? She teased, raising an eyebrow. Of course I am, I said seriously. You're mine. She smiled and took my hand. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. After that, I made a habit of accompanying her on outings as Lily. When we went shopping, I'd hold her hand and call her Mommy at the top of my lungs. When we went to the movies, I'd sit on her lap and glare at any man who tried to sit too close. Once, a guy in the row behind us kept trying to chat her up. I turned around and said in my most angelic voice, Mister, if you keep talking to my mommy, I'm going to call my daddy to come beat you up. My daddy is a superhero. The man shut up instantly and didn't make a peep for the rest of the movie. Valerie's shoulders shook with silent laughter. After the movie, she ruffled my hair and said, That trick of yours is surprisingly effective. Of course it is, I said smugly. I'm a genius. But at home, it was a completely different story. The moment the front door closed, I'd either change back to Leo or stay as Lily, but the mommy routine would stop. If I was in my girl form, she would scoop me up and carry me to the bed, her eyes filled with that familiar, tender, and slightly possessive look. You were very good at the summit today, she'd say, looking down at me. You deserve a reward. What kind of reward? I'd ask, blinking innocently. Me, she'd whisper, before leaning down to kiss me. We would tumble onto the bed, calling each other Wifey. Babe, the way that Davidson guy was looking at you today, I really wanted to punch him. Then why didn't you? She'd ask with a laugh. I didn't want to scare you. You idiot, she'd say, pinching my cheek. You never have to pretend in front of me. We'd talk about work, about projects and problems, and I'd give her my input. We'd also talk about nothing at all. What to eat for dinner tomorrow, where to go on the weekend. Sometimes, I'd change back into Lily and curl up in her arms while she read me a story. Her voice was so gentle, like a feather brushing against my heart. Wifey, you're the best storyteller. Of course I am. I'm your wifey, after all. Once we were watching a horror movie, and during a jump scare, I instinctively changed into Lily and dove into her arms. Babe, I'm scared. She just laughed and patted my back. Don't worry, I've got you. After the movie ended, I refused to leave her embrace. Wifey, can you hold me while I sleep? Of course. She carried me to bed and hummed a soft lullaby. I snuggled against her, taking in her scent, listening to the steady beat of her heart, and quickly fell asleep. I woke up in the middle of the night and realized I had changed back into Leo. Valerie was still holding me, fast asleep. I carefully shifted my position to make her more comfortable, then leaned over and gently kissed her forehead. Good night, my love. Life continued, peaceful and happy. We fought like any other couple, but our arguments always ended with either me changing into Lily to apologize or her giving it first. We worked side by side at the office like any other colleagues, conquering one project after another. The people at work gradually got used to our dynamic. They still thought it was a little strange, but the gossip died down. One day, Valerie suddenly announced she wanted to take me home to meet her parents. I was so shocked, I almost dropped the stack of files I was holding. Meet your parents? Of course, she said, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. We've been together for a while now. It's time they met you. But what about me? I worried they wouldn't be able to accept my special ability. Don't worry, she said, squeezing my hand. My parents aren't old-fashioned. They'll love you. Besides, she added with a smile, they might really get a kick out of meeting Lily. I looked into her confident eyes and nodded. Okay, I'll go. On the day we went to her parents' house, I was so nervous my palms were sweating. Valerie's parents were warm and welcoming, treating me with nothing but kindness. During dinner, her mother suddenly asked, "So, Leo, do you have any siblings?" I froze, about to answer, when Valerie jumped in. "Mom, he's an only child, but he has the cutest little niece named Lily. We'll have to bring her over to meet you guys sometime." I looked at her, my heart swelling with gratitude. She always knew. She knew I wasn't ready. After dinner, Valerie's father invited me into his study. He didn't ask about my family background or my salary. He just told me that I had to treat Valerie right and never let her get hurt. I nodded solemnly. "Sir, you have my word. I will always take care of her." Leaving her parents' house, I let out a huge sigh of relief. "See? I told you they'd like you," Valerie said with a smile. "Yeah," I said, looking at her. "Thank you, Valerie." "For what?" "For understanding me. For accepting me." She smiled and stood on her toes to kiss my lips. "Silly. We're family now." In that moment, I felt like the luckiest man in the world. That night, back at our apartment, Valerie carried the little girl version of me to bed, just like she always did. "You did very well today," she said, her eyes sparkling. "You deserve a reward." "What kind of reward?" I asked with a smile. She didn't answer with words. She simply leaned in closer and kissed me. This kiss was different from all the others. It was gentle and lingering, filled with a deep, profound love. I wrapped my arms around her neck, kissing her back with everything I had. The moonlight streamed through the curtains, illuminating the room in a soft, ethereal glow. I knew that no matter what challenges the future held, as long as I had her by my side, I would be fearless. We were each other's anchor, each other's one and only. This kiss was a promise, not just of our love, but of our future.